can I do if I have a loved one who's been resistant to getting help? Whether that's anxiety or anger or stress or relationship work. A lot of times, the question that I get asked is, how can I get my kid, how can I get my loved one into your office? Because I think if they had the opportunity to listen to you or do one of your courses, they could really propel change. So I'm going to spend a few minutes today and talk about this wonderful thing called the stages of change. I'm afraid it might turn out backwards for you, but that's what it's called, the stages of change. And then the first stage is pre-contemplation. And pre-contemplation is the position where a person is at where they're not really thinking about change at all. They're wanting to maintain behavior. So let's say that's a loved one who continues to drink and doesn't see anything wrong with his drinking or her drinking, even though everybody around them seems to think that there is. But in that phase, is there anything that you could do? Absolutely. Provide information, resource, be there. Let them know that you'll be able to help them whenever they're ready. But it's also to not tolerate the behavior. There's no need to put yourself in that situation when a person's not really willing to make changes. And I know a lot of my clients, from a family member's perspective, it becomes pretty painful because you're watching somebody that you care about kind of destroying the quality of their life. Now, the next stage up is pre-contemplation. Now, what was interesting is when I did work in Central America. Oh, by the way, my name is Gilles Brito. I'm a psychotherapist, hypnotist, and coach. And yes, I've worked both in Canada and in Central America, helping people make changes all over the world. And it's been my life mission to do that, to help people with mental health and addictions issues create the quality of life that they truly deserve. So when I was in Central America and we were actually examining this thing, this concept of pre-contemplation, actually the stages of change. Know that I don't speak Spanish, so I was delivering the curriculum in English. It was being translated by the crown attorney for this small city in Nicaragua, and my PowerPoint slides were actually in Spanish. Now, the ones that I was looking at were in English, but the ones that they were seeing were in Spanish. It's kind of an amazing delivery. But we reached some people, and when I was approaching people about the stages of change, I had a person who was talking through the translator that they're really struggling with smoking, and that's a behavior they really want to quit. But as she was talking to this person, she meaning my translator, he was doing behavior that was like, and this really is pre-contemplation. It's like you're trying to tip the scales in terms of, should I change this behavior or should I not? Is this something I really want or is it not? Now, a lot of times what comes up in this phase for people is doubt. They doubt they can actually pull through. At this stage, they're starting to see the negative points about maintaining the behavior, but they're also seeing a desperate need to change. So how I increase that is just kind of saying, help them maybe with a decisional balance matrix, which is you look at the pros and cons about changing or about staying the same. What happens is if the person can then voice that they want change, it goes a much longer way. Now, the next step up is preparation or determination. Preparation, determination is when a person is getting ready to make a change, but they're not quite there yet. So here, what's most important as a significant other or a family member is to heighten hope, to say, imagine what it would be like when you're on the other side and we're able to celebrate without the fear of what alcohol might drink or how you're going to react the next day or being hungover, all those kinds of things. So it's really around instilling hope. The next stage gets a little bit easier because here it's when a person is in action. In action is when the person is actively making a change. So this is the person going to the gym and actively making changes in their diet and exercise, if that's a weight loss program. By the way, if you're in prep, sometimes the people is like, well, getting a gym membership, is that prep? It can be, because it doesn't mean that you've gone yet. I've seen a lot of people buy gym memberships and not quite go other than the first 2 weeks of January. Now, the next stage is around maintenance. Maintenance is when you've maintained the behavior for 6 months or more, and you continue to use the strategies to promote change long term. Now know that a relapse is a return to the behavior either more or less or the same as before, can occur in all stages except one. The first one, pre-contemplation, because in that one they haven't changed anything. So know that you can always, the old adage is you can bring a horse to water, but you never make him drink. But you can make them thirsty. So sometimes it's about providing information. Sometimes it's about instilling hope. Sometimes it's about being a good ear so that they can kind of weigh the pros and cons. That's the best thing. But what I would suggest often to people is send it to a person who's neutral in the matter. Send them to a professional who can really help them balance out what they want to do moving forward. It is not my best interest to change somebody that doesn't want to change. So I just provide them with information in that case, and so they can make the decision on their own that this way of life is a better way than the old way, especially by the time they get into a counseling office. So we have lots of great resources that are available, and sometimes that first step is not necessarily to come in my office, because that could seem quite daunting to people. Sometimes the first step is engaging in an ebook or listening to an MP3 or purchasing a course. And all of these allow you to do it at your own time, at your own pace, in the privacy of your own home. So it's sometimes a great way to start. So till next time, this is Jill signing off. I wish you health, happiness, and harmony.